Hi, this is Lyle Sopel. You're here in my studio in Vancouver, and I'm a Jade and Gemstone artist. And I put a lot of these inspirational ideas up around my studio. And this is one of them that greets me every day as I come into my studio. It's a calendar that I use to bring myself into the studio. So I want to just show you as I come in, and this is how it looks. So here we are in my studio. I've been away for a couple of days now, and I've been on a bit of a vacation, and so it's always nice to get away and enjoy the the time away from the studio. But as I can see, nothing has changed. It's been great. There's been nobody in the studio since I've been away, and so everything is just left exactly the way it was when I left. So just the way I like it. So here we are. I'm showing you one of my more recent completed pieces. I call these themes a honey bear, and this is called Slurpee. This one, I just really love this piece. So it's a piece that I really enjoy making, and it's a theme that I like to keep in the studio a lot. And I find that it's a really popular kind of subject to work with, so I do this a variety of different ways, but I find that it's also it's a great thing to have because a lot of people like it, and it's a piece that I sell quite often. So that being said, I just wanted to let you know that the reason that I do these kinds of things every week is to really show you what the interior of my studio is like and how I produce the pieces, but also to set an example for you and hopefully share some of my ideas that could also help you have a sustainable art career. So in order to have a sustainable art career, you need to really contemplate on what are the things that really sell for you and can generate an income for you. And so there's a principle out there that was developed by an Italian economist. His name is Pareto. It's the Pareto principle, and he says that 20% of your results are generated by 80% of the actions. So that being said, if you relate it to your subjects that you create, or your paintings, or your artwork that you create, probably 20% of what you produce generates 80% of your money for your studio. Now that's an interesting idea. So why would you waste all your time doing all that 80% of the stuff that doesn't sell very well and just do the 20% that's really a productive kind of thing? So this is the idea, and I found that to be really the truth. And so I try to really focus on things that are important to my clients, important to me, and things that I really enjoy. So this is a citrine, and I used 18 karat gold beads on this piece, so it's really quite cool. And there you are. So this is a piece also that I've been working on, and it's a barn owl, but it's a kind of a mask that I put into it, and it's a jasper body and a cachalon face in the white. So that's an interesting piece as well that I will be getting to it. So this is the other part of the composition that comes through. And the heron. So one of the things that I've found about being away from the studio is that I have a better perspective actually on my work being here, and it's great to rest the mind and get your mind away from what you're doing, and that was the purpose of vacations, right, is to get out of the space and come back to it in a fresh way. So I've been able to find that right now I have a totally different perspective on the work that I've been doing here. And let me show you this piece. So this is a piece that was just like at this point a couple of weeks ago, and I wanted to put a lot of detail into this piece. And I was at a point where I've left it so that there's enough material around the areas that I want to put detail into, and enough weight left in the jade so that I can actually carve quite a bit into it. But I wasn't able to make a decision about how to do it. I was kind of stuck on this thing. So I find that one of my greatest tools is to take a break from it and just kind of relax with the idea. So that's what I've done, and here I've come back and I'm able to make a decision. Now, I thought about that after coming back, and what is this decision stuff that has to happen in my artwork? And I really kind of reflected on the idea of decision as being something that is so critical, and I think about my life in a way that I consider the decisions I made as, pivotal points in my life that kept me at a point of great success or great failure. And I just wanted to share some of these ideas about decisions because, when you think about them, it's a thing that affects so much of your life. It's a thing that affects, your family. It affects the way you do your business. It affects how you create things. It's like everything involved in your world is based on a decision. And I think that some of the biggest problems that I have in my world as an artist and as a creative person are created by indecision. So not able to come up with a clear, definitive way to get past a point. So that's, I think, one of the things that people that are really, really successful in life or in business can do very, very well. They can make decisions well. And I think those kinds of people are probably more like an A-type personality that can just not care really that much about what other people think and about how their decision might affect other people. They think about themselves, think about their outcome, what they want, what their goal should be, that kind of thing, and then make a decision based on what their needs are. So, after I thought about that a little bit, I realized that, that kind of mentality really streamlines their life. People that are very good decision makers, probably people in high-profile places because they built themselves into that position by making good decisions, probably have a less burden. Not that they have less problem, but they probably have less burdens in their lives. What they're able to do is make quick decisions and release the burden or the problem. They come up with a problem, make a decision about it, and then they move past that to the next thing. Another problem comes up, make a decision about that, and move past. So that way they get to have this streamlined lifestyle that just puts them directly on target to their goal, whatever that might be, and however successful they might be. So I found in my own experience that when I was not able to make decisions, I get this baggage, like I go, well, this is just not a great way to live. I end up with a lot of burden. I can't move past certain points in my life, and it gets to be a challenge. So I can remember a decision when I was very young that I made to become a world-class artist. That was my decision. I just had this dream that I could become a world-class artist. But I can remember the day that I made that decision. It was just like, this is it. This is what I want in my life, and I made that decision. So I can tell you that it takes discipline, of course. That's the thing. You got to make the decision and then have the discipline to follow through on all the things that come your way when you make that decision. And sometimes that brings up fear. And fear is like one of the biggest downfalls of decision making. I mean, that's the thing that prevents, I think, a lot of people from making great decisions, is the fear of making a mistake. Like, should I do it? Shouldn't I do it? Should I keep this relationship? Should I not have that relationship? Should I make this thing or not make that thing? Should I buy this thing? Should I not buy that thing? Should I spend the money? Will I not have it next time? Whatever the thing is, it gets to be a burden that you carry with you instead of solving the issue on the spot. So people that do it well, I believe they make the decision quickly and then they change their mind very, very slowly in the end. And so they live with whatever the issue is. If it's not quite right, then they live with it, and that just creates other situations that they, again, solve quickly with another decision. So I think that's a great way to imagine your success and to have access to a goal quickly. So great way to make decisions. One of the key principles about making decision is that when you step through, you go beyond that threshold of indecision and you walk into decision where you know you're solid. This is what I really want. This is what I really, really want in my life. Things open up for you. The universe opens to you and starts bringing the things that you need to fulfill that decision. This is a fact. This is a fact. I read a little article a little while ago, and one of the statements from this article said that what you seek also seeks you. Now that just really struck me very soundly, and I was very impressed with the idea that, what you want is actually out there looking for you. So, but you got to make the decision and have the discipline to stick with it. So that's how it happens. Now I wanted to go back to this piece here and show you what I'm intending to do. And I think I've had some people ask me about, how to do the detailing and what should I do in regards to making that detail take place and all that kind of thing. So in this case, I've got some layout here in the detail, but I just wanted to show you where I get my reference from for this. And I use a lot of stuff on the iPad. It's just so much better. I used to keep a lot of books of different kinds, and so I use photographs from the iPad and get them off Google or Pinterest. Pinterest is a really great one. I love to use that and research my subjects before I start. So you can see on the blue heron here that a lot of the feather work is layered on the throat part. So what I've done here is I've left quite a bit of material on the front section of it. So this will be cut away, and so the trick was to leave enough so that I can carve it and work away. So let me get a position here so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. So in this case, this detail is going to carry on in the front of the neck, and it's also going to carry on in the back. And so what I've done is I've drawn this in layers. So this is like a hair pattern. This is the way I begin a hair pattern. So I've got the triangles in a larger sense now. This detail will be much finer. So these hair patterns are going to be carved, first of all, as a triangular shape. And then afterwards, after the shape is in place, layered like shingles on this back of the heron, then I will come back and I will split these triangular shapes again into finer shapes. So that way I've got one kind of higher section of the hair on top of the remaining section of the hair part. So it's kind of like a build it from the ground up with a basic shape, and then I add more detail on top of it. So that's a general way of approaching a hair pattern. And so in this case, they're long straight lines. And so I don't want to really put it off too long. I don't want to procrastinate on this piece because I've got the idea. Now I've made my decision what I want to do, and I just don't want to procrastinate. So I find that the energy on the piece sort of diminishes when I procrastinate too long on the piece, like I not know what to do, or I feel a little insecure about going any further. But when I make the decision about how to do it, then I find that the best way is to dive in and feel that energy and make it work. So that's what I do. And so that's the other point I wanted to bring up, was about procrastination. That's a really, it can be a make or a break kind of situation in your studio. If you put things off for too long, like you have like some major tasks that need to be done and you just can't get to them for whatever reason. And so it's really important that you understand that you're not solving your problem, you're not dealing with things in a timely manner. So I know I've had that problem in my life for a long time. I used to be late for everything. So I really had to be conscious of this thing that I had about being late, or being, putting things off that were challenging for me. I'd put them aside, and that's the way that I can control them, by not doing them. And so that's not a really healthy approach. So the first thing you need to know about procrastination is that you actually do it. And some people don't know. It's like, yeah, it is possible. We all do it in some way. When we don't have a task we don't like to do, we just put it off, and then we forget about it, and then it builds up. So if you keep repeating it, you get to have a great problem. It can be challenging to dig yourself out of that situation. So what I like to do is, first of all, recognize that that's what I'm doing, and then think about why. Why did I procrastinate? So, procrastinating is a thing that you use as a tool to deal with your life. So it's a way to keep control, actually. It's a way to keep control of things in your life. So if you don't do it, at least that's one way to control it. At least you're not doing it instead of actually doing it. So it's a little bit of a psychological dilemma to get into. So you have to contemplate why, and it can become a habit, I think. And one of the ways to overcome habits, which I've done quite a number of ways, is to make it a 30-day process where you say, okay, I'm not going to do that for 30 days, and you mark it on the calendar from today on for 30 days. And if my life gets better by following this 30-day rule, then that's what I'll do. But if life is not any better, then I'll just go back to the way it was. But give it a try for 30 days, and that's a lot. That's the way that a lot of it can be solved. So one of the things that, if you find that you're procrastinating and you actually accomplish a goal, you see that you've done it, put something aside, and then you've gone back and you've done it, give yourself a treat, compliment yourself, or go to Starbucks for a coffee, or go buy yourself a nice dessert or something fun like that. And the more often you overcome a task or deal with a task, and the more treats you get, right? So yeah, it's a great way to do it. So those are the topics we wanted to cover today. So I want to thank you again for being part of this, and I wish you lots of success in your endeavors, and please continue to be creative and enjoy life. Bye for now.